Welcome everyone to Innovate Leader podcast. We're just starting in a few minutes. We are actually live on YouTube, so if you have a question, if you have a comment, please. Welcome everyone to Innovate Leader. So load it on the YouTube chat. Then I'll be able to check through and see how I can be able to address about. Welcome to today's session. Today's session, we are having a conversation that really is important to every leader today. So if you're a leader out there, then this conversation is actually for you, because then it will trigger something that will either make you become a transformational leader in your space or otherwise. So I'll talk about Ascent Leadership Group, which is an organization that is more of a leadership consultancy firm. So we are engaged in helping leaders to actually understand how to be able to use their influence, that their influence is actually far much greater than the authority of their positions. And we do this through coaching, we do this through teaching and training, we do this through consulting and research. So we have quite a number of coaching opportunities that as leaders out there, then if you want to work with a coach who will be able to walk you through the journey in terms of your personal development, your career transition, and then any other area of your life that you feel that you need to be able to improve, then engage us and we will be able to help you. We have a number of customized trainings for organizations and for groups. You can just go to our website on stepafrique.com and engage us, and you'll be able to customize something for your organization. We also do consulting, especially in terms of leadership development, in terms of strategy, in terms of internal business processes that are actually based on research. And then we have a number of research publications touching across the various aspects of leadership that we have shared out on various platforms. So if you follow us through stepafrique.com in our website, you'll be able to learn more. Or if you follow me, Gilbert Angana, through the various channels, then you'll be able to learn more about this. I've also been fortunate enough as an individual to be recognized at various levels, both at a global level and also at an intercontinental level. I have been, I was rewarded as the Consultant of the Year and also African Leader of the Year by Africa Board for Coaching, Consulting and Coaching Psychology. I was also rewarded or recognized among the top 40 change management gurus in 2022 by Leaders Ham, where I also appeared in their top 100 power list for really global leaders who are impacting the global community with knowledge and practice, especially on matters leadership. Thinkers 360, I'm one of their top 25 thought leaders, especially in the area of change management or change leadership. And also CEO Today magazine recognized me as one of the executive coaching award winners of 2022. This year so far, I am a finalist in Africa 40 Under 40, where the award session will take place in South Africa in March 25th. So I'm looking forward to celebrate and also celebrate other continental leaders who are actually doing great things. But I've also been recognized among the top 200 power list of global leaders who are actually driving voices on leadership by Leaders Ham for 2023. So these are just part of some of the areas and recognitions for our side as Ascent Leadership Group, and specifically for me as Gilbert Angana in the area of leadership. So you are in good hands as you engage with me, as you engage with us as an organization. I've also written a number of books, 4 books actually, the latest one being Engage and Productive. You can actually get it through, if you scan the QR code there, you'll be able to get the link to the book and other resources that are coming with the book that you can be able to look through and see. So the critical focus in this book is actually to help leaders understand the 5 mind shifts that they need to build in order to really build highly engaged and productive teams. And this is a critical book for any organizational leader out there. You have a responsibility of a team, and you want to be able to ensure that your team is engaged and productive at the end. So go out, check out that book, and practice the 5 mind shifts that are highlighted in that book. If you want me to come and discuss with the organizations on how to drive that program, is a 5 weeks programs with the organization, then get in touch and we'll be able to have that conversation. So today, the focus of today's discussion basically is actually to enable you as a leader to understand why should anyone be led by you, and possibly you know it, and it's in a fragmented form. So hopefully at the end of this conversation here this afternoon, that you'll be able to cement it and put it in a space where you can understand it much more, you can be able to practice it, and you can be able to understand the areas that you need to be able to inculcate as part of your leadership lifestyle, so that you can be able to lead well, or what I call, you can be able to have a transformational and purposeful leadership within your organization. So that's what we'll be able to engage today. And I just want to start this conversation on that same question, because we started a conversation with various leaders in the organizations that we trained last year. And one of the things that we kept on asking in every engagement that we have is, why should anyone be led by you? And I kept on asking this question as a teaser to the many leaders that I engaged last year. Why should anyone be led by you as a person? And some of the answers that were coming out of these questions were actually amazing, and it's true, and they're actually factual in all these answers that leaders were giving. And I just want to share some highlights of some of them, so categorized into various forms, but most of them appear to have these thematic areas that I'll share, and this then will really give us a jump start into the conversation that we look at. And by the end of the conversation, then we will be able to understand for sure, why should anyone be led by you? So these are some of the feedback that I received from the leaders. There are actually a few. So one is, most of the leaders were talking about is people should be led by them because they are good leaders. Because I've seen the world. The leader has an experience. So you have seen the world, you've been there, you've done that. So people should be led by you because of that, because you feel also that you are a good leader, because you feel that you have the experience that is required to lead in that particular position, because you feel that you can guide the team well, and you have the skills and attributes of leadership, because you also feel that people have no option in this season, in this organization, that you are the leader and they just have to work with you. And of course, the last one there is that because you have the gift and capability. And as I said, these are the initial feedback that I actually received from leaders when I asked this question. And many times, as I keep on engaging with leaders and I ask these questions, all the answers actually come in this kind of frame. So as I said, all these answers are correct, because people should be led by you because you feel that you are a good leader. People should be led by you because you feel that you have seen the world, you have the experience, because that's your area of expertise, because you can be able to guide them, and you have the skills and attributes. Because people have no option for sure. If you are the CEO, if you are the director, if you are the team leader in whichever capacity, do people have option? You've been chosen, or you've been appointed, and they have just to work with you. And of course, the gifts and capabilities that you have as a leader. Fantastic. And we'll come back to these answers at some point when we are finalizing the session. But I just want to take us through some of the landscape that we go through as a leader. What are some of the issues that we encounter every other time as leaders that we face that really affects how we engage with our teams, affects how we lead, and really affects the reason why people should be led by you. I just want to highlight again a few of them. So they are not exhaustive, but these are just a few of them. The first one is on the aspect of complex dilemma. That as leaders, we are faced with decisions that we need to make. And these decisions are actually positive decisions. They're actually right decisions. So they are not right or wrong decision in most cases, but in most cases you'll find that as leaders we are faced with right decision, because if there are decisions that we have to make that are either right or wrong, then your team or your teams can be able to make those decisions. So the reason why you are there as a leader is to actually to provide guidance and support, especially when you have those right decisions. So we are faced with these things, and sometimes they affect us, and they make us to have hindrances in terms of our capabilities to lead and the level of our leadership. Other issues, climate anxieties. I mean, today we are in a space where climate issues are paramount to leadership, to organizations. There is no way we can operate as an organization without cognizance of the issues that are surrounding climate change and many other factors that come into that, because then it will affect how we use our energy in our offices and various spaces. It will affect how we dispose our waste, and it will affect eventually the stakeholders that are more interested in this within our organization. So climate anxieties are critical issues that today's leaders we have to be alive to that fact that these are things that we need to be able to understand and foster. Today's leaders are also faced with what we call fragmented energies. We have to make profits. At the same time, we have to ensure that the stakeholders across the various aspects are actually sorted. And so we are faced with this decision that we make profits because shareholders want money, but also do we ensure that other stakeholders are taken care of? Do we make money ethically? Do we have some governance structures that will ensure that we make money in a more integral way? So leaders are faced with fragmented energies on the aspect of their performance, and of course on the aspect of managing and balancing all stakeholders' interests, which is critical. The other critical issue that we are faced with as leaders is the aspect of existential quest. Now we want to grow from a leadership perspective. We want to go higher in our growth, in our leadership spaces, in our leadership lead, but there are hurdles that are along the way. It could be inferiority complex, it could be imposter syndrome, it could be many other issues that are more personal to us that are actually hindering us from really growing to the level that we want to grow as a people. Then we also have issues around toxic masculinity, and this cuts across all gender. When we're in position of power or when we're in position of influence, you would want to really take advantage of it, and sometimes we take advantage of it in a way that really hurts the people that we lead. We also have issues around systemic iniquities. You find that people in the same organization doing the same role are being paid different, and sometimes because of gender parity, sometimes because of other issues within the organization. So systemic iniquities are issues that as leaders we are grappling with every other time. Then we have aspects around entrenched polarities that we know where we need to go, but there's a gap. What do we need to do to bridge this gap so that then we are clear in terms of, yes, this is where we need to go, this is where we need to be, but this gap, we need to be able to close it in a way that will ensure that we reach there. And of course, finally, is the aspect of profound uncertainties that are there today in our leadership spaces. But with all these issues, the expectation is, and the expectation from all stakeholders as leaders will be able to navigate through the complexities and provide direction to the organization and to the teams that we are leading, that will be able to ensure that we lead we provide leadership from an innovative perspective, that we're able to ensure that organizations keep on having innovative solutions that really engages with the customers and the stakeholders that are critical to the organization. And also, as we go through these issues, the expectation is that we'll be able to connect, we'll be able to empower and to produce leaders. So regardless of the issues that we go through as a leadership, as leaders, then the expectation from different stakeholders is that these three things and many more will be able to ensure that we work on them along the way, along the journey. So navigating through the complexities, ensuring that we lead from an innovation perspective, looking at the digital transformation that is happening in the world today, and of course, reproduce leaders, connect with them, and empower leaders in the process. Now, jumping a little bit ahead, is in the course of the engagements that we've had with leaders, there is one question that I also added into it in terms of understanding what is stopping leaders from becoming the best they would want to be. And this question then directed to you is, what is stopping you from becoming the best leader you want to be? Remember, there are things that we've talked about in terms of why should people be led by you. Leaders have given their explanation around why they feel that people should be led by them. But we ended up looking at some of the hindrances and of course the expectations still from the stakeholders. So when leaders were asked about what is stopping you from becoming the best leader you want to be, and when you ask yourself that question as a person and just using one word in terms of answering that, then these are some of the things or the areas that leaders actually shared that was stopping them from becoming the best leaders that they want to be. And you will have issues around the culture of the organizations, issues around imposter syndrome or inferiority syndrome, issues around conflicts within and without the organization, fear, accountability, lack of accountability, and the aspect of inspiration and motivation that is really hindering leaders from becoming the best leaders that they would want to be. And remember, these hindrances are also affecting our critical question for today. Why should anyone be led by you? And from a leader's understanding, we've seen the answers that are there. But here, the same leaders here were actually giving and saying these are the issues that are actually hindering them from becoming the best leaders that they would want to be. Then I went ahead and asked these same leaders, what kind of team members will they want to see? Because it is critical to understand that if there are things that are hindering you from becoming the best leader, what are they on the flip side? What kind of team members would you want to see? And also, because that then you'll be able to close the gap in understanding why should people be led by you. So when these leaders were asked the same kind of questions in terms of what kind of team members would they want to see, then these are the answers that they actually share in terms of they want to see team members who are accountable. They want to see team members who understand their role. They have mutual respect, mutual understanding, mutual trust. Team members that are open in terms of the engagement. They have a good demeanor. They are collaborative. They are clear in terms of their defined role. And this is what leaders want to see in their team members. And I guess even for you who is listening now, this is what possibly some of the things that you would want to see in your team members who are productive, team members who are engaged. And that's the reality, because as leaders, we want to see team members who are working with us on the journey towards attaining the shared values. On the flip side, I spent some time and asked some of their team members in terms of what would they want to see in their leaders. What are the things that they would want to see in those leaders? Remember, the leaders have given their views in terms of these are the hindrances that is making me not to be the best leader. But I would want this kind of team as I move along. But here on the flip side, these team members are saying what they would want from their leader. And some of the answers that were actually shared is they would want their leaders to be respectful. They would want their leaders to have open communication. They would want their leaders to trust them. leaders who have skills, leaders who are honest, leaders who are able to feel that they're actually doing something, they value them, leaders who can be able to support them. So this is feedback from the team members to the leaders in terms of the areas that they feel that this is what is top of mind for them, and they would want their leaders to practice this. So looking at all these perspectives, the leaders have given up their views in terms of why they feel they should be the leaders, and then they've also shared the hindrances that is affecting them from becoming the best leaders. They've shared the kind of teams that they want, and the team members have also shared the kind of leaders that they want. So with all these perspectives, the questions still remain. The one critical inquiry that we are looking at today, with all these perspectives, is why should anyone be led by you really? And I think this is the most profound question that you need to ask yourself. Why should anyone be led by you really? Why? And I think there are three things out of all these engagements that we had last year with a number of leaders and of course their team members. There are three things that can be summarized out of the feedback and conversations that we had with them. That people should be led by you. You should be confident and say that people should accept to be led by me because I value them, as the first one, because I believe in them, and because I love them unconditionally. And I think these three are the critical commitments that as a leader, when you are asked, why should people be led by you? Why should anyone be led by you? It's because you value them, because you value your people, you value others, because you believe in them, and because you love them. And this is what I call the VBL matrix. And this, if you're able to practice this, if you're able to lead and live this in terms of your leadership lifestyle, then you will see purposeful transformation in your team. That you're able to value them, that you're able to believe in them, that you're able to love them unconditionally. And when you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's actually big words that have actually come up and have had so many discourse and conversation in our organizations today. But the underlying values around diversity, equity, and inclusion is value, believe in people, and love unconditionally. Because you will not be able to say that you are a leader who accepts diverse views of your team members if you don't value them, if you don't believe in them, and if you don't love them. You'll not be able to say that you're an inclusive leader if you don't value your team members, you don't believe in them, and you don't love them. You cannot say that you provide equal opportunity as a leader and as an organization if these three things are not there. And that's why these three things are the fundamental foundation of diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're actually the fundamental foundation in terms of leading engaged teams that will be able to have purposeful transformation in whatever space within the organization that you find yourself in. So let's deep dive a little bit deeper in understanding what would it really mean when you're talking about to truly value people, to truly believe in people, and to truly love people unconditionally. What are the things that you need to do so that then you can be able to showcase, you can be able to measure that I truly value my people, that I truly believe in my people, and I truly love people. And these are some of the things that came up as a result of our conversations with both leaders and of course their constituents or their followers or their employees. The aspect of valuing people, you will be able to know and measure that you value people if you're interested in your team, if you're interested in the people that you lead. If you're not interested with the people that you lead, then you will not value them. When you provide constructive feedback to the people that you lead, then you're valuing them. You're telling them that I value you, and I'm giving you constructive feedback that will be developmental for you. When you invest in them through mentorship and coaching, you are actually showcasing that you are valuing them. When you prepare them to succeed in whichever way when you're supporting them in a way that they actually succeed and they see the success in them, you're actually showcasing to them that you value them. When you help them advance in whatever areas that they are stuck and blocking those avenues, you're actually showing that you're valuing your people. When you prepare them for their departure, and this is one of the hardest things for many leaders, to prepare their team members for departure, because sometimes we end up being in the same space as leaders for a very long time because there are no opportunities, maybe upwards to grow and so on. Then what happens is we end up suppressing our team members because our team members have grown to the level where they can actually lead. But there are issues that are there in terms of us preparing them to advance. And I think it is important for us to understand how to prepare our team for their departure. Make time for them, acknowledge them publicly. This is some of the things that are actually ensuring that you value your people. When you're talking about believing in your people, it starts by believing in yourself as a leader, because as a leader, if you don't believe in yourself, then you'll have what you call the inferiority complex. You'll have issues around imposter syndrome. Then you'll pass it to your team and you'll hurt your team. So you have to believe in your capabilities. You have to believe in yourself as a leader so that then you can be able to pass the belief to others, or you can believe in others. Enable others to contribute more by challenging them, provoking the status quo that we talked about here, cheering and cheerleading your team, empowering them, give them those assignments, critical assignments that are assigned to you, and give them responsibility. Provoke their status quo, which I've talked about. People are not the victim. Challenge them that the mountain is not them, because many of us actually see ourselves as the mountain, and for sure many of us, we are the mountain. But when we get challenged to step up, then we realize that the mountain is not us. Nobody is perfect. Challenge your team to actually fail forward, because this is the only way that they can be able to move and attain the shared values, the shared outcomes that you're looking at as an organization or as a team. Then the last one is loving people unconditionally. And loving people unconditionally starts with you, because you can't love people if you don't love yourself. You can't give what you don't have. Loving people is not about you as the leader, it's about others, how they feel, how their feedback that they will give you. Instead of pushing people to the brink, encourage people rather than giving threats, and employ understanding and help your team members to actually move past the obstacles. Challenge with motivation and vigor. Instead of belittling your employees and your team, praise them for what they're actually doing well. Pick the 1% and actually fund it to 99%. And of course, offer mentorship opportunities for improvement. If as a leader you're able to tackle these three areas, valuing people with measurable impact that we've talked about, believing in people with the things that we've talked about here, and loving your people unconditionally, then something will change in them and you'll be able to see transformation in them. And this is what we call purposeful transformation. And purposeful transformation starts with you as a leader. Purposeful transformation starts from an inside out perspective, which is you as a leader. When you understand how to value your people every day, how to believe in them, and how to love them unconditionally. I want to finalize by saying that if you want to change the paradigm, or if you change the paradigm and focus on value, and focus on belief, and focus on loving your people unconditionally, then you'll see a thriving team. You'll be able to see a thriving organization, which is very, very critical in terms of success for you as a leader and for the organization at large. So I want to leave you with a few quotes here. The first one is, the way you see people is the way you treat them. If you don't value your people, you will treat them the same way without value. If you don't believe in your people, you'll treat them the same way without belief. If you don't love your people unconditionally, that's how you'll treat them. So the way you see people is the way you treat them, and the way you treat them is what they become. So today, if you're having struggles in your team in terms of performance, productivity, engagement, check at how you treat your team. Do you value them? Do you believe in them? Do you love them unconditionally? If not, go back to the basics that we talked about and try and practice them as part of your leadership lifestyle. People will rise to the level of expectation you set for them as a leader. So this is about you. These are about your 3 commitments. A person is a person through other people. So your team will only be your team through you and others around you. And of course, when you stop loving your people, then you start manipulating them. And I know that's what we do. For most of us as leaders, we are manipulating our people in terms of performance, giving them threats that you'll be able to sack them, and so on and so on. I mean, the reality is, if you don't love them, if you love people, then you'll be able to act with value, belief, and love. So check, are you manipulating your team? Or are you leading them with love? Are you valuing them, or are you believing in them? Because value, belief, and love is the accelerator in the workplace. And I want to leave it at that. And I hope I've been able to challenge something in you as a leader, in provoking you to actually practice these 3 things: that you need to value your people, you need to be able to believe in them, and you need to be able to love them unconditionally for you to see purposeful transformation in them, purposeful transformation in the organization, and of course, purposeful transformation in the various spaces that you find yourself in. So there's a new book that is coming up later this year that I'm writing. It's called Inside Out, that talks about these 3 things. I call them the 3 commitments, and talks about why should anyone be led by you is because you value them, is because you believe in them, and is because you love them unconditionally. So follow me in the various spaces, follow Ascent Leadership Group, follow myself, Gilbert Angana, in the various spaces. Then you'll be able to learn more. And of course, in the next webinars, we'll be able to deep dive more on the aspect of value, on the aspect of belief in people, and on the aspect of loving people unconditionally. And I hope it will make sense to you as a leader as you drive engagement and productivity this year moving forward. So thank you very much. I hope I've added value to you. If you want to get in touch with us to have this conversation in your organization specifically, reach out to us, and we'll be glad through the contacts that are shared there, and we'll be glad to support you to walk that journey with your team. Thank you, and see you in the next engagement, the next webinar.